Welcome back. We're talking Beacon Hill with two ace reporters from the State House News Service, Katie Lannon and Matt Murphy. And you weren't unfortunate enough as to have to go to the registry last week, were you?
I was not.
No, me neither, thank goodness, because if you did, you know that the wait times were horrendous after the registry changed its computer software to comply with new federal requirements about the so-called Real ID program. When I saw this happening, I thought to myself, Charlie Baker must be orbiting the Earth right now. Because when he ran 4 years ago successfully after the previous unsuccessful run, it was as Governor Fix-It. I'm going to clean up all the messes and the things that annoy you. And the number one thing, I must have seen him mention this a dozen times, was getting the registry wait times down and making the registry function well. So, Katie, this has to hurt.
Yeah, it's certainly been one of the governor's central issues. He mentioned it in his inauguration address a few years ago. And when we asked him about it this week, you know, he expressed confidence that that the RMV was going to be able to bring their wait times back down to what he describes as the new normal. But it's certainly a kind of an area of vulnerability to him. It's something that's very real to people who are waiting in those lines, and they'll remember it. And we've seen at least one of his challengers try to seize on it. Jay Gonzalez brought donuts to the RMV this past week to give to people waiting in line and make conversation with them.
Honey dipped, plain, or was it an assortment?
To be confirmed, I guess.
Okay, we don't, all right, that's an important detail. What do you make of this, Matt? I mean, this is obviously not the only thing that's gone bad for Baker lately. You have the state police scandals, quote unquote. You have continued problems at the T. Those are all sore points.
Yeah, it's a tough stretch for the governor. And I think the one thing he has going for him, at least with regards to the RMV, is he did run on fixing this. He had some success there in reducing wait times. Right. And if this does kind of trend back towards the normal, people like Katie and I and maybe you who haven't been to the RMV yet, maybe they won't remember that in November because they haven't had to interact yet. The state police stuff is a whole nother situation, I think, and it's troubling for the governor, particularly at this time moving into April. We're getting close to political conventions. It's kind of giving some oxygen to his Democratic challengers who have been really struggling and desperate to gain any sort of inroads with the electorate or find an issue to really get at the governor. You
know, I get all that. I just think people forget that, first of all, once there is a Democratic nominee in September, maybe even sooner if the field gets narrowed to one coming out of the convention, that individual will go from almost total obscurity to front and center overnight. And it's just tough for a Republican to survive statewide, even if your name is Charlie Baker. Sure. Agree?
So you look at 2014, I mean, 40,000 votes. We think of this hugely popular governor right now, but he really only beat Martha Coakley by 40,000 votes. So it's true. If there's a wave, a blue wave in November, he may need to, you know, really solidify his base, and these kind of issues don't help.
Final quick comment from you?
Yeah, I mean, as you said, the governor is very popular. It'll be interesting to see if those numbers kind of hold through or if his challengers or anyone else are able to kind of make these issues stick.
And don't forget, George H.W. Bush in the fall of 1991 had an approval rating of over 90%, and we know what happened to him in 92. Matt, Katie, thanks a lot.
Thanks, John.
Good to see you. Appreciate your insight. Thank you for joining me. Now I'm going to send it back over to my colleagues for more WBZ News.